Barcelona thought a big name leaving might open the door for arrivals, but the door only cracked ajar. Veteran centre-back Inigo Martinez has agreed to join Saudi side Al Nassr in the coming hours, a move that was always possible because of a clause in his contract allowing him to leave if an Arab League club made a substantial offer. No? Marca reported the update, a clear, almost clinical note in the club's transfer ledger, and the headline reads simple. Wage space has been freed, but it isn't enough to register Barcelona's new players straight away. The numbers look big on paper. Martinez earned around €14 million a season, and you can almost hear the accountant's pen scratching, but the club's situation isn't solved by a single departure. What sounds like relief at first quickly turns into the realization that the problem is structural, not merely numerical, and the next move is anything but certain. There's a human side to the deal that softens the blow. The club respected Martinez's clause and did not stand in his way, understanding the personal and financial benefits the offer represented for him. From the player's locker, you can imagine a quiet professional goodbye, no theatrics, no angry words, just handshakes and an understanding nod. Reports underline that Martinez conducted himself professionally during his time at Barca and that the split was amicable, almost courteous, like neighbours agreeing to part ways without drama. Still, even the cleanest exits leave paperwork behind, and Barcelona knows that professionalism on the field doesn't magically rewrite the accounting rules of it. The real tug of war now is between what felt right for the player and what the club's ledger allows. The core blockage is technical and tied to La Liga's financial rules. Barcelona is not currently operating under a one reinvestment option with La Liga, which would have allowed them to immediately put all the freed wages back into registering new players. Instead, under the constraints they face, only half of the released salary can be converted into registration power. In plain terms, they can use 50% of what they freed up. That rule turns a €14 million saving into just €7 million of usable registration capacity, and the math quickly becomes cruel. When you stack that limited amount against the demands of new contracts, amortization of transfer fees, and the paperwork to register multiple players, the saved sum dwindles to almost nothing in practical effect. The club's breathing room, while real, becomes more of a thin sigh than a deep breath. That arithmetic is exactly why Joan Garcia, whose signing Barcelona values for the pitch, remains unregistered for now. It's not only about the wages that Garcia will earn, it's also about the amortization of the €25 million fee Barcelona paid to Espanyol. Amortization spreads that transfer cost across years on the books, and that accounting burden increases the registration hit beyond mere salary. Marcus Rashford and 6 other players who are already waiting to be formally registered feel the same squeeze. Even if the club has the intent, the ledger says are not yet. Imagine a crowded doorway where only half the people who leave are allowed to be replaced immediately. That's the bottleneck the club faces. The departure of Martinez helps, but it doesn't flip the switch to ready. Longer term, moves like Martinez's do help. They chip away at a larger problem. Yet Barcelona's ability to build a competitive squad this season remains hamstrung until more exits or salary reductions come through. The club can plan, negotiate, and hope for players to agree to pay cuts, but negotiating wages is fraught. It requires goodwill, leverage, and sometimes sacrifice from players who have earned their standing. More exits would create real space. Wage restructures could too, but both options are politically and emotionally delicate inside a dressing room. For now, Barcelona occupies a limbo where strategy meets reality, where the optimism of summer signings bumps up against the cold ledger and leaves fans asking whether the club can marshal the discipline needed to fix the short-term shortfall. So what happens next is the real cliffhanger. Barcelona has done the polite, pragmatic thing by allowing Martinez to move on and has secured some fiscal breathing room, but the club still must find concrete ways to turn that breathing room into usable registration capacity. Will more players be moved on? Will there be tough conversations about salary cuts, or will the club be forced to delay the arrival of key signings and wait for a larger reshuffle? The answers will decide not just a transfer window, but how quickly Barcelona can assemble a squad capable of matching its ambitions, and the clock is already ticking.